Hello, hello, hi. Hello, Yella. It is me. It is I. Small time Didi Khadi on the internet, and I am back. We're back. Thank you all so much for coming back. Please, guys, do like, comment, share, and subscribe. I still can't say it right. We're over 20 videos in, and I still don't have my rhythm about this. Stay with me. We are down here, up on here. I don't know. On the internet to talk about the Real Housewives of Cape Town reunion, the first part. I can't remember if it's a 2-part or 3-part. We usually never need a third. They're just trying to drag it out for the ad space usually. But we're down here, over on here, up on here. I don't know. To talk about this, the host for this is Vusi Twala, who looks and even sounds familiar. So I can't remember if he was like, remember SABC One used to have like presenters, and then they'd like let you know what's the next show that's coming on. I can't remember if that's where he's from. And I tried to search it, and I wasn't getting what I wanted. But he's no stranger. He hasn't been in our TV screens for a while. That isn't to say he hasn't been busy in the background, but that would also mean that they needed somebody seasoned that can is comfortable in front of a camera, but is not the thing is, I don't think he's gonna cost as much as Fat Joe. Do you see where I'm going with this? Okay, great. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. We need an affordable somebody. They're gonna be confused at first, but then they'll figure it out. I still can't figure out who would be the best host. He was a good host, by the way. He did a good job. He seems to have been engaged with the show, watched it back enough times to help guide, because it's annoying when you have a host that didn't watch the show like that, or didn't give themselves, like, do your homework. If you get given the job, even if you weren't watching the show, go back and watch it so that you can make for a good host. Anyway, we see him go. Andy Cohen does this, the historians know. He goes into we see the ladies arrive first, and they're all looking like, you know, regular like this, and then we see them in their fitting rooms getting ready, and this is where the host usually goes in and chats to the ladies, so they use that style. I can't remember if they did that with the Durban one. The host goes and says hi to all the ladies, introduces himself, and you know, asks how it's going, if they're feeling nervous. So we get to see that. So let's talk the reunion looks before we get into the actual, you know, meat of things. I think Roxy served the most face. Her face just looked, her face card just don't decline. Like, she looked so pretty. Loved Lou's makeup as well. Rushta is another one who also looked fresh in the face. Love that. Rushta, I don't know what that dress was supposed to be. I think it's some high fashion avant-garde type things that us poor people aren't supposed to understand, and so it's been misunderstood. It's really just ugly. I think Camilla was actually the best dressed. She snatched as fuck, that corset thing she was wearing. And then I would rate Lou and Beverly in the same position, and then I would then have Roxy. I don't care for Tato's anything. I don't care for her hair and makeup. I don't care for her dress. It's just too much dress for no reason. It's not wow. It's a lot of dress. That's it. Like, literally as in a lot of it, right? Loveline is another one. I don't know what look she's going for. Like an oriental girl. Like, I don't know what she's going for, but whatever it is she's going for, it was just, okay, whatever, girl, I see you. She's such a tiny woman, and she loves to wear things with too much shoulder. She's tiny and chubby, so like me, like, we're short and chubby. What? You've got enough arms. Don't add to them. Like, literally her dress was in Beverly's face the whole time. The set, that's another thing I want to talk about. It does not feel like a television set. It feels like they got a person who does good decor around the neighborhood, or did Love Line's child's party, and they were like, can you do the set design? And they designed it as you would maybe an event for like a launch for a cocktail or champagne. That's a nice look for that. I wasn't understanding the reference. Again, as a historian, usually the shows, the set is inspired by something that happened in the season. It's usually a trip. So because they had that big trip to Grayton, they could have done something very kitsch like that. Or they that trip to Aquila, they could have had like a safari type theme. That's usually just what they do, right? Or sometimes it's even inspired by something that happened in the Camilla's house, something like that, right? They could have had something that's a play on that. And Married to Medicine, they had Toya's 3-story closet in one of the reunions as the inspo for the set and stuff, because it was just something that kept being talked about. So I don't understand what the set was about. The couches were far too tiny. The women were like squishing. I don't know. I don't know. But let's get into it. We get straight into the issue of Rushda, and Rushda saying that she feels like when she looked back in their confessionals and the little chatter that was happening in her absence, she feels like the women weren't being very sensitive and understanding of her pregnancy. And to which Lou starts getting emotional about, like, don't lump us all in. You can't just, I hate people who want to get like, who are about semantics when it's not the moment. I don't know why Lou had to do all of this. Don't say everyone, but if you know you're not part of everyone, why are you so fucking pressed? Like, it's so confusing to me. Like, you keep saying it. It's like when you, it's like, oh my god, men are trash. Then there's 3 people who want to talk about the 1.5 dude who isn't. Why? Where in your head is that the right moment for that? Anyway, we see Rushda do that, and then Camilla then says it's she found Rushda to be very absent even in the scene. Even if she showed up for shoot that day, she'd just be sitting there and not very present, which is odd, and Camilla is having a hard time reconciling how she's so bubbly, and she used the word bitchy really. She said, why you're so bitchy in your confessionals or your diary sessions, whichever you want to use, the historians, confessionals. Why she's like that in her confessionals, but then in person, she can't say it to somebody's face, essentially calling her two-faced without saying it, right? It's like she's trying to walk around that. So Rushda replies that no, she's a very like direct person. If she has something to say, she'll say it. She just feels like she doesn't want to be part of the noise. If it's like we're all yelling, why does there need to be one extra person yelling? Like, you're all already yelling at each other. Why do I now need to contribute to this? What would I be contribute? And I get her point. I also don't find her two-faced. I feel she's been direct with people in scene. She's just a bit more soft-spoken, right? But like, she called, Love Line was like, no, we were just inspired by you. She's like, yeah, well, it doesn't seem like it. She'll say it. She'll actually say it. So I don't feel like that's fair. Maybe she is a little bit more spicy in her confessionals, I suppose, because there aren't other people yelling around her. So she can be all of the drama in the confessionals, which tracks for me. It makes a lot of sense. We look back at Tato and Beverly's friendship, how things unfolded for them throughout the season. It's really sad how it worked out for them. We get to see where the fallout happened. Roxy gets involved here, and she says that she feels like there are people in this group who are invested in seeing Tato and Love Line stay apart, not mend their friendship. But because she's privy to both sides of the aisle, she gets to hear from Camilla's side and she gets to hear from Tato. She has hope that they can fix things. To which Tato also says that she has a lot of hope, which doesn't last. It does not last, okay? And then we also look back on Love Line and Rixie's relationship. Remember that very first episode, Rixie was very irritated at Love Line calling her limene or whatever, and she pulled her outside and they had to have a chat about it. I found this very interesting because I remember as the season progressed, we got to calling her Love Line, but she was really pushing her being Mrs. Leo, and I think it's pathetic. It's part of why I don't want to get married. This woman has very comfortably given up her identity in order to embody her husband's identity as hers, or her be a byproduct of his existence. Like, I don't know how to explain it, right? Mrs. Leo, like, she is so proud to be this person's significant other, the same person she knows sleeps around on her and makes kids on her, meaning he has zero regard for her health, right? Or that of her children, because who wants the mother of their children to be sick? What does that do to the household? What does that do to the kids? Yet you're running around here and Mrs. Leo, like it's supposed to mean something. Ugh. So embarrassed. Anyway, she was very much Mrs. Leo in the first episode. We got to see that, but then we don't get into it. We don't get into, the meat of it as to what that chatter was about, because apparently it involves a third party who isn't on the show. I'm like, why bring it up then altogether so that we can be guessing what it was about? Anyway, we also take a look at the issue surrounding Camilla's house. Ooh, this is gonna cut. I need to change this battery. We get to look at the issue surrounding Camilla's house, and we see the tape playback of the host, what's his name, Vusitwala, asked Camilla, your house was made for a lot of the conversation for the season. Has this always been your experience of your home? Do people come into your home and are taken aback and they don't understand what the style of home is or decorating is, or what is this interior like? And she says no, because the circles she moves, everybody understands this. Though this chick dead ass call these bitches broken poor. Your countertops are probably like marble contact paper. Hey, is what Camilla said without saying it. That she is surrounded by a lot of art dealers and people from Europe, and this manner of decorating the home is very common in the circles that she runs. So it's never been chatter. There's never been conversation around the style of her home or her interior. And then we look back at still surrounding Camilla and her home. We see the tape playback where Tato and Beverly get off at that pit stop, and they're having a chat where Beverly confesses that I staged this woman's home without her knowledge. And then we see how it unfolded, how how Tato ended up telling Camilla, and then on the stage Camilla says, so my whole point of saying that Tato threw me under the bus, and she did, Tato didn't want that smoke on her, right? Tato didn't want the Camilla energy on her for her and Rooksy going snooping in her house without her permission. Hello yellow. So it turns out my memory card was full. I had to swap it with the one that's in my phone so I can finish doing this review, and hopefully, I don't know when it stopped. I don't know. Okay, anyway, when we're looking back on the issue with Camilla and Tato and Beverly and Rooksy and Tato are gaslighting everybody. I called this in the other episode. We saw what we saw. You were trying to go into that woman's home after she told you that she doesn't want that, because of how you all have been talking about her home in your little circle of bitches with no money, essentially, is how Camilla feels. Y'all wouldn't know nothing about this home. Rooksy and Tato are dead wrong. They play the tape back. We see what happened in the garden, like we saw in the episode that it aired. They were invading that woman's space after she told them that she doesn't want that because of how everybody has been talking about her home. They did go into that woman's space without her permission. And the whole time they're still sitting on that stage trying to play it off like that's not what they did. And then Rixie even goes as far as to conflate things like, yeah, I didn't call your house this and that. I wasn't even dissing your house. I actually liked the decor in your home. I thought this, I thought that. But that's not the argument. The argument is that Camilla said, you weren't allowed to go in her home. Like if you needed the loo, tell her, she would take you to the loo. But that's not what she wanted you all to do, right? And instead of owning it, you all are trying to shift around blame. And that's what Beverly says to Rooksy, and they get into it doing a back and forth because Beverly's like, I did what I did, but I faced up to my shit and I owned it. Well, she didn't face up to it. She's going to. She had planned to. Even though in her confessional, she had said that, you know, I'll own it. Like, I will tell her, I will not tell her. Like, she doesn't know. It's on tape, Beverly. She was always going to know. She was always going to find out. So, at some point, you were always going to have to own up to it. Like, babe. So they get into it, Rooksy and Rooksy calls Beverly stupid and says that she just needs to like not involve her in this, because when Beverly talks about owning it, she gestures in Rooksy and Tato's direction. And Roxy's like, why are you pointing at me? Like, leave me out of this. This isn't. She's like, yeah, because you and her were in cahoots with snooping in that woman's home. Then they get into it. They do this back and forth, and Roxy calls her stupid. They really yell at each other. I don't know how I made these notes, guys. Oh, oof. If anybody can tell me if this was just a bad chop, what happened when Rooksy and Beverly are going at each other, Tato feels the need to jump in and say, what, you are a prostitute, a pimp, and a escort. Why does Tato feel the need? There's nothing about the interaction between Beverly and Rooksy that required Tato to jump in and then start calling this woman all of these things, essentially accusing her of being a sex worker of all sorts and all kinds. This was very low, Tato. I mean, I have a soft spot for you, but good lord, you make it really hard to root for you. I'm not even gonna lie, it's really, really hard to. It's just your ops happens to be a group of people who really act like they are better than you, but they're just better at hiding their shit than you. I don't like how you spray them with their experiences though, as the back and forth happens. And she's yelling at Tato. Beverly says, I think you're bipolar. Because honestly, her behavior is erratic, and not to diagnose people because like we're not qualified to do that. But it doesn't make sense. She goes from 0 to 100 over nothing. Her tick is just out of this world. You don't even know what her triggers are. I don't think she knows what her triggers are. Everything sends her. My God, it's much too much. Vusi is trying so hard to sedate her, if you would like, trying to calm her, trying to micromanage her, and she just overtalks everybody. It's not a pleasant watch. It's cringe to watch, first of all. It's embarrassing. Beverly says at some point, I'm telling you now as your friend, you are really making a fool of yourself. She's embarrassing to watch sometimes. It's much too much. It's like, make your point and move on. I mean, how much she attacks Camilla at every turn. If Camilla even says the tiniest thing, she's ready for Camilla. I feel she feels so hurt by Camilla because she feels like all season you were acting like you're team me, you're trying to help me, only at the end to try and like stab me in the back by making fun of my wine, essentially, right? Like, she is a she has a real beef with Camilla, and it's not about to go away. I mean, way in the beginning of the episode, when we were taking a look back at Tata's relationship with Beverly, but Camilla says, she interrupts whatever's being said. She's like, did you like being called a whore? To which Tato says to Camilla, yeah, when I stop interjecting, just stop getting involved with everything. Stop it. Like, she has all the, and I don't blame her. I can't say I blame her, but calling Beverly an escort, a prostitute, and like a madam, all manner of things. Like, I cannot think of a situation that required us to go there or to do that. That is really low. That it's giving Arrested Development. It's giving I don't have my words. I don't know how to fight like a grown woman. She just fights like a little girl. She slings mud like a teenage girl, like who will slut shame or whatever. It's really pathetic. And then we look back at that high tea that Rishta had, where she's pushing alcohol on Tato. That's what I saw. And then she's like, we look back on that, and then we see all the women taking turns to try and figure out why she walked in so frazzled and all over the place, and everybody's trying to calm her down, help her through this moment. We're looking back on that, and then we come back to scene where Vusi then asks her, how can you not see that everybody was concerned about you, because there was elements of what you're exhibiting that resonated with them? Because Tato says that she can take it coming from Roxy because she resonates with Roxy, and I think she trusts that Roxy is coming from a good place. And Vusi then asks her, then why don't you believe that Camilla was also coming from a good place, and so was Beverly? Then she starts spraying Beverly with her shit, with her story of abuse. These are not your stories to tell, Tato. These women told you this in confidence in order for you to realize that you're not alone. A lot of women go through this. This is a lot of people struggle with getting out of abusive relationships. It's happened to the best of us, to the most affluent of us, to the least educated, if you would like. It happens across the board, and that's why these women were sharing their stories with you in private. They're not ready to come on camera and have these conversations because suppose it's triggering, right? Suppose they're still working through it, or they're afraid of the people they're going to be talking about, because maybe these people hold very powerful positions and it could create a lot of legal drama for them, and that's perhaps why they don't want to do that. So it's not your position now to come on here and spray these women with their shit on shit that they told you in private, trying to be of assistance and somewhat of a sisterhood for you, like Vusi says here. And Tato's just like not having it. And I understand why though. To a degree I get it, because at the end, look what they did to her. Instead of uplifting her and like really being consistent, I suppose, again, I can see the other side of the argument. It's hard to constantly show up for somebody who is as erratic and dysfunctional and rude, just hits below the belt as Tato. It's hard for you to continue to be your better self and to be the bigger person and to be like, oh no, she's really just going through it. She doesn't know how to regulate her emotions. Maybe she's like, you know, like her growth has started, like her emotional growth is not all the way there. It's very difficult to continue to be that person for somebody who is consistently showing you that they have no plans to change. Right? So I see that side of it, but I believe they were being genuine. I really do, because first of all, Beverly pulled her to the side, had a breakfast with her. Beverly was constantly trying to have these conversations with her alone and not trying to make them this big spectacle of like, everybody come get involved as we discuss whether or not my friend is being abused. Whereas whenever she would learn that these women have had similar experiences, she just went and like told it as gossip to the next girl. It's just wrong. I mean, Tato stole my heart because she stole my heart, but there's an issue of character here, is there not? Anyway, we look back at that high tea, to which she says no, that's not the distance she walked from Camps Bay to wherever it is they were at. She was just exaggerating it, but I think she meant that they'd been fighting from that distance and then she got off a short distance from where they were at. So we see that. She continues to call Beverly names, the same names. She continues to repeat that. you're a prostitute, you're an escort, you are a pimp. She continues to say this, to which Camilla says, you can't just go around saying things like that. Like, defamation suits are a thing. Like, you cannot be that reckless with your mouth. It cannot be allowed. You know the thing about keeping it real, right? I've had to watch so-called people in reality television who keep it real, where the keeping it real goes a little too far. Nene Leakes is one such example. I'm one person who likes to speak my mind, right? And as much as a lot of people may not think so, I really work on filtering some of the things I want to say. Sometimes I'll just take a pause and really try to like figure out if this is something, but like I'm also wired the way I am, where I just would like to just call a spade, and it's not to be brash or to be harsh or I think I'm so cool because I'm being so rude. It's just that I also feel like sometimes we're grown-ups and I don't understand why I need to tiptoe around certain issues, right? So there's that, and then there's just this that Tato's doing. Tato has no foresight. Tato lacks couth, if you would like. Tato needs media training and social etiquette classes. She needs something. She needs to know how to fight like a grown-up. Because the things she's saying to Beverly, I can't. And then Tato even asks her, okay, all of this has happened, but Tato, how are you? Are you okay? To which she replies that she's Gucci. And then Rixie, you shady beast, you. Rixie's like, Rishta is like, are you Gucci or Gucci? She's like, because she's getting along with Rishta now, right? So it's a joke. If anybody else had said, if Camilla had said, do you mean Gucci, bitch? She would have lit that stage up. You hear me? So she laughs it off, it's whatever. And then this is where Babe says, you're really embarrassing yourself, my friend. Like, and then it takes her off, right? I think I'm knowing what it is now. She has a difficult time. Like, once she believes you don't have her best interest at heart and you try to critique her or correct her behavior in any way, she loses her mind. Especially if you're trying to disguise it as care. Right? Like if you're saying, as your friend, I just want to let you know that she's embarrassing herself. She's not seeing that as care. You're just trying to like embarrass her. You're trying to produce television at her expense, and so she's going to come at you. And she does. She comes at Beverly in this moment, which answers my question. Because 2 or 3 episodes back, I asked when Beverly was like vague on purpose, by the way, at Love Line's house before they went out clubbing. She was like, well, her daughter Giselle had now gone off to, you know, go be with him, her ex-husband. And I didn't know if in what capacity, as a stepdaughter, what is the relationship. But Tata lets us know here. Literally, she did the same thing she did to Loveline. Loveline said to her, you need to stop doing this and this and this and go work on fixing your home. To which then she replied, well, your husband's sleeping around. Tato will one-up you. Okay, she's a one-upper. Okay, you say some shit, some low shit, she's gonna show you the earth's crust. That's how low she's fucking going. Okay? She replies to her, you need to actually worry about the fact that your daughter is on drugs and she's fucking your ex-husband, bitch. When I tell you, everybody was just like, Tato, no. Lou got so emotional, she just left. I think watching Tato unravel like that is hard even for me, because I do pity her. Like, it's like, oh, this woman has no control of herself, no self-awareness whatsoever. She is spinning. She's spinning out of control. It's so sad. So as it escalates, I think it got to be much too much for Lou, who just stood up and left set. I think she needed to go compose herself. And Loveline, Beverly stands up because now she obviously is like very emotional. This person had just like said all of this to her, and they were very close at one point. So we're bound to feel like it's true. We're bound to feel like, oh, this might be something that Beverly said to her in confidence, and now she's spraying her with it. And Loveline gets up to go comfort her white friend. We know she's very serious about these business relationships of hers. And then Rixie's like, no. Roxy is always calling Tato to order. And Tato chaba Ruxi. Like, she's actually afraid of Ruxi. So when Ruxi says stuff, she actually tries to compose herself. She's like, you're now sharing things that Beverly told you in private, and I don't like it. Why are you doing that? Right? And then Barkemang, Camilla's like, oh wow, like such a low blow. The host as well, Vusi's like, why would you do this? She's like, no, I can't sit here and pretend that everything is Gucci when everything is not okay. These women came for me. The three of them actively plotted to try and take me down and fuck with my brand and my bread, and I'm not cool with them. I'm not cool with them, and that's what I'm saying. I feel like when she feels like you're being fake and you're disguising it as care and concern for her, it really sends her. It takes her off. So that's really what happened here. I think it's low. I'm really embarrassed for Tato. I still like her. You know, I still want better for her. I want her to be able to just... She has some years on me, but she clearly... I couldn't do a back and forth with Tato. I couldn't do a tit for tat with her because it's too low. And I do low shade. I do. But oh my God. The crust. Good Lord, no. That's it, Shella. That's all I have. Please do come back. Please do like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let your people know about your rakari on the internet. That's it for now. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Bye.